being here today. I'm Xavier and I'm back with another video for you. If you like this content, just make sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. And you can also find me on Instagram at the Black Case Files, as well as on TikTok on the Black Case Files. Let's get into it. Just a heads up, this was a two-parter. Part 1 was uploaded yesterday, and this is part 2. Also, trigger warning for SA, police brutality, and murder. Today, we are talking about the Groveland Four. Groveland Four were 4 young black men, Ernest Thomas, Charles Greenlee, Samuel Shepard, and Walter Irvin, who were falsely accused of raping 17-year-old Norma Paget and assaulting her husband on July 16, 1949 in Lake County, Florida. The trial. The first thing to understand about trials during this time is that the trials were held with a jury, but the jury was not comprised of a cross-section of the community as it is today, or as they are now, or as they are to be held now. They were made up of white men. That's it. So a jury of 12 men who heard the case and who came up with a verdict. A grand jury indicted the 3 remaining rape suspects. It was later that Samuel and Charles separately told FBI investigators that deputies beat them until they confessed. Walter refused to confess despite also being severely beaten. The NAACP, they helped with the men's defense, hiring Orlando attorney Franklin Williams. After interviewing the 3 surviving suspects, Williams said that each had independently stated that he was beaten by Lake County deputies. Shepard and Greenlee both told FBI agents that they confessed to raping Paget in order to stop the beatings. Irvin never confessed and maintained his innocence. Williams documented the visible evidence of their injuries. Shepard's injuries included scars on his head, broken teeth, tooth puncture of the upper lip, lash scars across his back and chest, and scars on the wrist, which supported Shepard's claim that he had been cuffed to a metal pipe. Irvin had similar injuries, body scars, wide bruises, lash marks, scars across wrists, and an apparently fractured jaw. Greenlee's injuries included a red and bruised left eye, scars on the right cheekbone and around the neck and groin, swollen testicles, and numerous cuts on his feet. Thurgood Marshall, the lead lawyer of the NAACP, pressed the Justice Department and the FBI to initiate a civil rights and domestic violence investigation into the beatings. Marshall convinced the Justice Department that the beatings violated the men's rights, and the FBI dispatched agents to investigate. The FBI later concluded that Lake County deputies James Yates and Leroy Campbell had violated the Groveland men's civil rights and urged the U.S. Attorney Herbert Phillips of Florida to prosecute, but a grand jury did not return indictments of the deputies. There were failures of justice all over this trial, from the prosecutors not introducing coerced confessions into the trial. By law, the confessions should have been thrown out as it was a violation of their Fourth Amendment right, not allowing evidence to be presented that would harm their case. There's uncertainty about whether Paget was raped. Let me be very clear. This is not victim blaming. This is a system not giving justice owed to those who are constantly abused by the system that is supposed to protect them. The prosecution did not question Dr. Jeffrey Benefold, the physician who examined her, Norma Paget, on the stand. Judge Truman Futch did not permit the defense to call the doctor as a witness. According to his records, Benefold could not tell whether she had been raped. He found no evidence of tears or wounds in the vagina other than the lacerations that were already mentioned. Laboratory analysis of a vaginal smear revealed no sperm present in the vagina, nor any organisms resembling gonocochae, which could have been other evidence of sex. There were no other gross signs of bruises, breaks in the skin, or other signs of violence. Sam and Walter said that they had been together drinking in Eatonville, Florida, that night of the alleged rape, or rather of the alleged attack. Charles said he was nowhere near the other defendants on that night and that he had never met Shepard and Irvin before. The defense accused Sheriff McCall's deputies of manufacturing evidence to win a conviction. All three men were convicted by the all-white jury. Shepard and Irvin were sentenced to death, and Greenlee was sentenced to life as he was still a minor at the time. Nothing happened to the deputies who beat the men. I mean, there was an investigation by the FBI that concluded that the Lake County Sheriff's Department deputies James Yates and Leroy Campbell were responsible for the beatings, and agents documented the physical abuse with photographs. And the Justice Department urged the U.S. Attorney in Tampa to file charges, but Herbert Phillips, the U.S. Attorney, was reluctant and failed to return indictments. So, like I said, nothing happened. Appeals and shootings. The NAACP took on assisting the defense in the appeals. In 1951, future Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall led the defense in an appeals hearing for Walter and Sam at the U.S. Supreme Court. It overturned the convictions of both men based on adverse pretrial publicity and remanded the case to the lower court for a new trial. Charles Greenlee had not appealed his sentence of life imprisonment. Sheriff McCall was transporting Sam Shepard and Walter Irvin from Rayford State Prison back to Lake County Jail when he claimed to have a flat tire. He pulled down a remote, dark country road and pulled over. Alone with the two handcuffed prisoners, McCall got out under the guise to inspect the tire outside Umatilla, Florida, north of Tavares. He claimed that Shepard asked to relieve himself, and when the two prisoners, cuffed together, got out of the car, they attacked McCall. He drew his pistol and shot at them. He shot each prisoner 3 times. Shepard was killed instantly, and Irvin survived by playing dead. The following morning, at the hospital where he had been taken for treatment, Irvin told FBI agents and reporter Mabel Norris Reese that the shooting was unprovoked. He said McCall had shot him and Shepard in cold blood, staging the scene to make it look like an escape attempt, and that Lake County Deputy James Yates had joined McCall at the scene, seeing that Irvin was still breathing, and fired one last shot through Irvin's neck. Irvin survived. The FBI later found a bullet buried in the ground beneath Irvin's blood spot that appeared to cooperate and support his account of the shooting. A nail found in the front wheel of McCall's car appeared to have caused his claimed tire trouble. That night, McCall said that he had no idea how the nail got there, but the FBI believed that it had been placed there. Again, an all-white coroner's jury made up of many of McCall's friends took half an hour to find Shepard's death justified. They concluded that McCall had been acting in the line of duty and in self-defense. McCall was cleared of any wrongdoing. NAACP bombing. Harry T. Moore, executive director of the Florida NAACP, demanded in 1951 that McCall be indicted for murder following the Groveland rape case, and requested that the governor suspend him from office. 6 weeks later, after calling for McCall's removal, Moore and his wife were killed by a bomb that exploded under their bedroom in Mims, which is in Brevard County, Florida, December 25th in 1951. But an extensive FBI investigation at the time and additional separate investigations in 1978, 1991, and 2005 found no evidence of McCall's involvement. In 2005, a new investigation was launched by Florida Department of Law Enforcement that included excavation of the Moore home to search for forensic evidence. On August 16, 2006, Florida Attorney General Charlie Crist announced his office had completed its 20-month investigation, resulting in the naming of 4 then suspects: Earl Brooklyn, Tillman Belvin, Joseph Cox, and Edward Spivey, all deceased. All 4 had a long history with the Ku Klux Klan, serving as officers in the Orange County Clavern. Although members of the Klan were suspected of the crime, the people responsible were never brought to justice. They were never brought to trial. Irvin's second trial and later life. After recovering from his shooting wounds, Walter Irvin was tried again after refusing a deal from the prosecutor and Governor Fuller warrant that would have spared him from a death sentence if he pleaded guilty. His defense counsel, Thurgood Marshall, gained a change of venue to Marion County, Florida, because of the extensive and adverse publicity around the case in Lake County. Marshall led the defense team from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Irvin was again found guilty. Judge Poach, who was again presiding, sentenced him to death. After Leroy Collins was elected governor in 1954, questions were raised to him about Irvin's case because he was considered moderate. He reviewed it and in 1955 commuted Irvin's sentence to life in prison, stating that neither trial proved conclusively that Irvin was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Walter Irvin was paroled in 1968. In 1969, he visited Lake County, where he was found dead in his car, officially of natural causes. Charles Greenlee was paroled from prison in 1962. He moved to Nashville, Tennessee with his wife and their daughter, Carol, who was born in 1950. Remember, his wife was pregnant when he was arrested. They had a son, Thomas, in 1965. Greenlee died on April 18, 2012, but not before seeing Gilbert King's 2012 book about the case published, Exoneration. In 2016, the Lake County Commission followed Groveland Mayor Tim Laux in presenting the surviving families of the Groveland with a posthumous apology. Both Laux and members of the Lake County Commission then began lobbying state lawmakers to do the same. Senator Geraldine Thompson filed a proposed resolution for consideration during the 2016 legislative session to clear the names of Greenlee, Irvin, Shepard, and Thomas, and note the egregious wrongs the criminal justice system perpetrated against them. On April 18, 2017, the Florida House of Representatives passed a resolution sponsored by State Representative Bobby DuBose requesting exoneration for the four men and apologizing to their families for the injustice of the case. The Florida State Senate passed an identical resolution, which was sponsored by Senator Gary Farmer on April 27, 2017. The resolutions called on Governor Rick Scott to expedite the process to grant posthumous pardons. It's also called on Scott to pardon the men. On January 11, 2019, the Florida Board of Executive Clemency, with newly seated Republican Governor Ron DeSantis at the helm, agreed unanimously to pardon the Groveland Four. 70 years is a long time, DeSantis said, before taking office, and that's the amount of time four young men have been wrongly written into Florida history for crimes they did not commit and punishments they did not deserve. DeSantis issued full posthumous pardons to the men in 2019, but they were not exonerated by the state until 2021. On November 22, 2021, Judge Heidi Davis granted the state's motion to posthumously dismiss the indictments of Ernest Thomas and Samuel Shepard and vacated the convictions of Charles Greenlee and Walter Irvin. So this was a heavy case. Thanks for watching, friends. In general, I try to upload 3 to 4 times per week. Make sure to follow the Black Case Files on Instagram to see what will be uploaded next. See you next time. Bye.